Jim Walsh keeps it live and local weekday mornings on SuperTalk 1270.
Well, you know, we got to talk about the high school in Devil's Lake where they're banning the tight pants, banning girls from wearing tight pants, comparing it to prostitution. And the question, is the school justified? I say no, it's not. And it's also missing the point entirely. Number here is 663-1270. Jim Walsh on SuperTalk 1270, a special Wednesday edition this week of Bis Man Weekly, sitting in for the folks from the Extension Connection who couldn't be here today. And I want to thank them for allowing me to sit in and do my thing for an hour. And I'd love to get your comments. Okay, let's get right to it here. New policy at a school in Devil's Lake, eliciting strong responses from parents and students alike. Devil's Lake High School recently informed all the female students that they were no longer allowed to wear leggings, jeggings, or tight jeans. The male students can still wear them if they want. The school says the purpose of the new policy is to prevent distractions among teachers and other students. You know, it's the old, well, we want our boys to be focusing on their studies, and if they had to look at the sexy girls, then they won't be focusing on their studies. Yeah. Which misses the point entirely, in my opinion, for this simple reason. We're talking about students in high school. We're talking about teenagers, adolescents. They're going through puberty. Their hormones are going, inside their bodies, driving them nuts. You could put all the girls in burqas and you'd still have the same basic problem. The boys and the girls, but especially the boys in this case, and they're dealing with some serious hormonal issues. And you're not going to fix that problem by pretending it's not there or by literally covering it up. You know, tight pants, I don't see the issue with tight pants. I mean, if these girls were showing up wearing nothing but G-strings and Speedos or something like that, that'd be one thing. But we're talking again about leggings and tight pants, and I don't see the problem there. Number here is 663-1270. We are talking about high school students here, and we need to help the kids in dealing with their adolescent physical and psychological issues. Again, you don't do that by pretending they're not there. That has never worked. That has never worked. What does work is working with them, talking with them about it, and explaining to them that things are going on, and here's what's happening, here's why it's happening, and here's what you do about it. Here's the appropriate way to act, okay? Nothing wrong with teaching kids to be civil toward one another. We're not talking about mass debauchery in the hallways of the school. We're not talking about encouraging kids not to act responsibly, but what I'm saying is that stopping girls from wearing tight pants does absolutely nothing to address that particular issue. And the other thing that I find interesting here, several things about this, actually. I liked how they showed the movie Pretty Woman. They show these girls 2 scenes from the movie to compare their attire to the main character, who is a prostitute. Well, isn't that just... Pretty Woman is not exactly cutting edge where that is concerned. The movie Pretty Woman has about as much to do with the real-life world of prostitution as, I don't know, the movie Top Gun has to do with the real-life world of fighter pilots. Which is to say, not very much at all. You know, if your daughter is dressing up like the Julia Roberts character in that movie, you don't really have a problem, I assure you. That's not the issue, all right? Now, these rules are being met with some degree of resistance. Some of the students express discontent with having to find a new wardrobe. Others feel the school should be focusing on bigger issues such as bullying. Well, I don't want to get into the bullying thing again today necessarily, but valid point there. Again, focusing on the wrong issues. You pick an issue that is more easily fixed, supposedly, and you focus on that to kind of give people the impression that you're doing things right. You know, we're taking decisive action here. We are people of action, and we are fixing this problem, which doesn't really fix the problem, but it kind of looks like it does. Know what I mean? It's like you're looking for your lost car keys, and you lose them over here, but you're looking for them over there because the light's better, right? Right. Number here is 663-1270. You see, I remember what it was like to be in high school. I remember dealing with those issues. And this was back in the 70s when they were just starting to be realistic in the way they dealt with that kind of stuff, instead of just totally ignoring it or just covering everybody up. Actually, I can remember in high school, when I first started high school, junior high school actually, we kind of had the opposite problem. We had girls who wanted to wear pants to school. And the alternative, of course, was skirts. And skirts, even kind of short ones, not super short, but, above the knee. Even skirts like that were preferable to pants, which were not allowed at all for girls. Kind of the opposite problem. They just, for some reason, didn't think it was appropriate for girls to wear pants. Winter changed that in a hurry. And I'm not even talking about North Dakota here. I'm talking about growing up on the East Coast, where we went through one really long, hard winter where we had a lot of days where the temperature was below zero. I mean, below 0 Fahrenheit. It was down there. It was like it is out here, I mean, out here it's no big deal, but at the time there, it was a pretty big deal. And the girls the parents just said, well, my daughter is not going to freeze, her knees off going to school just to be dressed appropriately. She's going to wear pants. So, and after a couple of days of that, the school kind of modified their rules, at least for a while. They said, well, as long as it's cold, the girls are going to wear the pants. Initially, they weren't even going to allow that. The point is, a school is a bureaucracy, and bureaucracies have strange, weird ways of doing things. And I just don't see how this is going to help anything. North Dakota High School banning girls from wearing tight pants and comparing the attire to prostitution. They don't want the girls to be an undue distraction. Well, the problem is the boys are going to be distracted anyway because they're boys. And the girls are going to be distracted too by the boys, and it goes back and forth. This really does nothing to help. Really doesn't. Number here is 663-1270. Love to get your comments on the issue. Jim Walsh on SuperTalk 1270. With more conversation, your calls coming up.
Right now it's 57.
Get the traffic and weather information you need anytime on SuperTalk 1270 and online at supertalk1270.com.
Talking about the school in Devil's Lake that is banning girls from wearing tight pants. And the question is it a good idea? Is it going to work in stopping undue distraction? I don't think it will. Number here is 663-1270. Would love to hear from you, though. Let's say hello, good morning. You're on SuperTalk 1270. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning. I'm trying to make sense out of all this. They're going to ban them from wearing tight pants.
Yeah.
Which is probably a good idea. But I'll bet you $100 you'll still go to a volleyball game and see them with painted-on shorts.
Well, exactly. I mean, are they going to make them wear long pants for? Maybe they'll make them start wearing, sweatpants or something. I don't know.
I think it's probably a good idea, but I know they'll still be wearing them same old. I feel sorry for them girls, and I don't even go to volleyball games. I'm so glad I don't have a daughter that doesn't have to go through the humiliation to wear them.
Yeah, I wonder if they should just start going back to the old uniforms, like the old Catholic schools. I mean, it seems to be coming to that. It would certainly eliminate a lot of confusion. I appreciate your comments, sir. You're kind of breaking up there, but thank you very much. Excellent call there. Thank you. Cool. There I go, getting my radio stations mixed up. No, the number here is 663-1270. My name is Jim Walsh, and the radio station is SuperTalk 1270, supertalk1270.com. No, I'm confused because, well, I confuse easily, actually, but your humble and loving talk host here has been putting in a very long day. I'm not saying this to be a bellyacher. I actually am enjoying it immensely. All this week, I've been filling in on the morning show on our sister station, Cool 98.7, the home of the classic hits here in Bismarck, Mandan. And by the way, if you don't normally listen, I would invite you to do so because we just have a fantastic time in the morning. But anyway, my day is starting, I'm keeping farmer's hours for the moment here. I'm getting up at like 3 in the morning and getting going. The only difference is, unlike the farmers, I do get a bit of a break once I get done with my work day, which in my case is in about 45 minutes. I'll be going home for the day. So, if you're a farmer, by the way, I don't see how you guys do it. Get up at 3 in the morning and you keep going all day until after the sun goes down. That's amazing. I mean, I get up at 3 in the morning and I'm going to bed in an hour and I'm beat. I've never gotten used to these early morning hours. But anyway, I've been filling in on Cool all week in the morning for Scott McGowan, who's away on vacation. And, I love the music and I love talking about the goofy, funny musical stuff. And we do like a mystery oldie, and we do the what we call the nearly impossible quiz question. What was it this morning? Well, we've been playing a lot of TV themes. And you play the TV theme song, and you got to kind of guess the Waltons or whatever it is. But it's been fun. Anyway, back to the issue here at hand. We've got a school in Devil's Lake. Well, it's Devil's Lake High School is where it is. And they informed all the female students that they were no longer allowed to wear leggings or tight jeans. The same policy, by the way, does not apply to the male students. And I wonder why not, because, if you got a real good-looking kid, a male, wearing tight jeans, you don't think the girls are going to be a little turned on by that? Sure they are. Sure they are. If the guy's a real, hot-looking dude, sure, I imagine the girls would be really turned on by it. But the school says the purpose for this, they're only banning the girls from wearing the tight pants, and the purpose is to prevent distractions among teachers and other students. Wait a minute. What about the teachers being distracted? Oh, that's strange. I mean, if you're worried about your teachers getting distracted, maybe you should reconsider your hiring policies and who you're actually allowing to teach your kids. Do you really want to hire somebody who's going to be that easily distracted by a bunch of teenage girls in tight pants? That's the way you approach the issue. You know where we're getting really close to here. Not quite on it, but we're getting very close to saying that if these girls get in trouble, it's their own fault. We've had that argument before. And I don't buy it. I don't buy that. And I don't buy this argument. I don't buy the argument that we have to teach girls to not wear tight pants. We got to tell them not to wear tight pants. So, the kids, that's one argument. And I don't think that holds up, but especially for the teachers to say we don't want our kids to dress provocatively because we don't want the teachers to be distracted. What? Come on. And right now that song by the Police is swirling around through my head. Young teacher. Yeah, the one based on the book by Nabokov. Right. 663-1270. Some comments here from the website, supertalk1270.com. Seriously, the reasoning, boys should be focusing on their studies. Oh, I'm sorry. Did we forget we are talking about high school students? Are kids not allowed to grow up and start noticing the opposite or, in some cases, the same sex anymore. And if your teachers are getting distracted, maybe we should reconsider who we are. There you go. Maybe we should reconsider who we're hiring and allowing to be around those kids. Why do stories like these keep popping up? We keep placing blame on everything other than the actual issue, which in this story, I'm not even sure there is a real issue other than teenagers noticing and discovering their sexuality, which is a good point. I mean, they're going to do that anyway, whether we like it or not. In a physical sense, it's perfectly normal. We need to counsel them, teach them how to deal with this stuff. I mean, don't they have health class with all the really cool films that they, all the kids snicker at in the auditorium? No, we had those when I was in high school. But let me ask you, your opinion on this, your feeling on this. Or is this just another case of old Jim doesn't understand because he's not a parent? Oh, yeah, right. Number here is 663-1270. Now, it's not widely known what the ramifications will be for the violation of this policy. But you mean we don't know what the ramifications are? They're not telling us? Or did they just kind of figure they'll make that up as they go along? I don't know. Oh, okay. They're saying it may range from, I guess it's a discretionary thing, which I'm not too crazy about. Let's be really upfront and specific about what we're going to do. If you're going to discourage kids from doing something, you got to be very specific in how you discourage them. What are you going to do if we break the rule? They're saying that it may range from being required to change clothes to an automatic detention or suspension. My guess is first-time offense, they tell you, they send you home, change your clothes. If it happens a second or third time, then you probably get suspended or you keep you after school. Was that me wheezing again? Yeah, I've been dealing with this. I had this nasty cold back in the spring, and it kind of stuck with me all through the summer. I've had this raspy cough. I finally got some medicine for it in the last week or so. I took the medicine once, and it fixed me, and then it came back, so I'm taking the medicine again. Oh, boy, I'm kind of, hear that kind of whistly thing there when I took that? Ugh. Yeah, be careful. There's some weird stuff going around out there, and I'm not even talking about Ebola, okay? I'm just talking about stuff that makes you wheeze. And I'm turning into an old man, Get off my lawn. All right. Well, the assistant principal of Devils Lake High School is saying that the new policy is not meant to objectify girls, but to stop boys from focusing on anything other than their schoolwork. Because those boys, you just can't control them. We got to put our girls, let's put all the girls in burqas. I got news for you. You could do that, but it wouldn't work. You still have the same problem because the boys are swimming in hormones. Because they're boys. They're adolescent males. And when you're a male at that age, you're going to be, your thoughts are going to be kind of turning a certain way. And there are ways you can deal with that, but the way you don't deal with it is by covering everything up and just trying to pretend that it's not a problem. The bigger question, of course, what are policies like this teaching young boys? The implication seems to be they don't have to be accountable for what they do. Yeah, again, we're getting perilously close to saying, hey, the girls are asking for it. Well, that's ridiculous. Putting responsibility on the females to consider how their choice of attire may or may not affect someone or how someone reacts. This is some comments directly from the website. But yeah, it's kind of misguided. I really believe it is. It's not the way you deal with this particular issue. But it's exactly what you would expect from a bureaucracy, and a school, if nothing else. First and foremost, it's a bureaucracy. All right. Another comment here. When I was in high school, spaghetti strap tank tops were banned. Yeah, naked shoulders. Heaven help us. I think now that social media is around, they make more of a big deal when something gets banned. But how about teaching your kids to respect other people and not make someone wearing tight clothing the scapegoat for something that may happen to them? Yeah. Oh, I agree. Blaming the girls for being ogled or worse because of what they wear. Come on. Like I say, they could dress like nuns. It wouldn't really fix the problem. Hey, I'm not making a joke here. I mean, women in burqas and nuns, they get attacked too. And please don't think I'm trying to make a joke out of this. The point is, covering them up did absolutely nothing to help them and protect them. There were other more complicated issues involved here. Okay, let's move on. I got some fun things I want to get to. I do also want to talk about the situation with those football players, that Muslim football player. God, I can't talk today. Hey, been up all day. Yeah. The praying in the end zone. Now we got a Muslim who did it. And people are all worried. Well, he's a Muslim. He's praying in the end zone. Well, we can't have that now. I'll talk about that in just a bit. Super Talk 1270. Got a couple of football stories here for you. Well, first we have the story of the player who got penalized, and then the penalty was rescinded after he knelt in Muslim prayer the other night during the Monday night game with Kansas City. Well, if anything, the Patriots are the ones that should have been praying. Not that I think it would have helped, but here's the deal. We have this player, Hussein Abdullah, for the Kansas City Chiefs. He scored, and immediately I don't know if I'd say prostrated himself. He basically got down on all fours and kind of touched his head to the ground, kissed the ground, and then he got up again. And the NFL initially penalized him. I guess they thought somehow he was showboating, but a lot of people made the point. No, it was some kind of religious thing. If you're going to let Tebow do it, then you got to be fair about it, right? Right. So they rescinded the penalty. And in the process, they've opened up a really big can of worms here because if you're going to start penalizing people for something like this, and, I'm not a religious person, and I don't really get the whole thing of celebrating a touchdown by praying, whether it's a Tim Tebow on his knees or this guy. Tebow gets a trademark. This guy gets a 15-yard penalty, which is rescinded. Hopefully they won't do that again. But, yeah, where do you draw the line? You start punishing people for something like this. How do you enforce something like that? What if the guy is an atheist and he scores a touchdown and he does nothing in the end zone? Do you penalize him for it? I'm just saying. Number here, 663-1270. Of course, I guess it could go the other way, too. I mean, if you got a guy who, my wife and I were sitting around last night just trying to come up with these bizarre scenarios, like maybe somebody who's into voodoo or something. He's from Jamaica, and he scores a touchdown and he immediately starts stacking gazelle bones to kind of, bend down and worship them. And then he wants to do a human sacrifice in the end zone. It could get a little weird there. Yeah. I can see where that might be a little bit much, but this, nah, come on. Number here, 663-1270. Your comments. Well, be sure and like us too on Facebook. SuperTalk1270.com on Facebook as well. And we'll like you back and also qualify you for all kinds of good things. Anyway. Kansas City Chiefs safety Hussein Abdullah scored a touchdown during that game in which the New England Patriots didn't have a prayer, but he did what many in the NFL play. He did what a lot of players do. He stopped and he did the prayer thing, but problem was he was a Muslim. This not like that nice old Christian boy, Mr. Tebow, with worshiping Jesus, after scoring, which. You may have noticed that old Tebow didn't really do that much worshiping after the last season or so. But here we have the guy who, he took a pass from Tom Brady, ran it back for a touchdown, celebrate the score, just a second of his career. He went to his knees. He performed this Muslim form of prayer, going to the ground, if you were. And he was immediately penalized for what they called unsportsmanlike conduct. And the video is all over it's all over YouTube. It's all over the internet. You can see this for yourself. I mean, there was nothing excessive about it. You know, he was down for a second. He was back up again. Boom, he was done. He's a practicing Muslim who does go without food. He will fast during Ramadan. He also skipped the entire 2012 season so he and his brother could go on the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, which if you're a Muslim, you are encouraged to do that if you can, at least once in your lifetime. Anyway, after the incident, there was a lot of tweeting going on. His brother, by the way, used to play for the Broncos and the Cardinals. And after the incident, there was some, question of whether this was the Muslim equivalent of Tebowing. Well, as many on Twitter were quick to point out, what appeared to be, basically we had a double standard here. We had a lot of people celebrating the one, condemning the other. And while I'm not a big fan of religious displays, I don't really, to me, if you're getting upset over this one way or the other, you probably have a little too much free time on your hands. So let's not make a bigger deal out of it than it is, because it really isn't that big of a deal. Like I say, as long as they're not lighting fires and sacrificing virgins in the end zone, yeah, keep an eye on the cheerleaders if I were you. But as long as they're not doing something weird, then I wouldn't really worry about it. Really, come on. Number here, 663-1270. And the other thing related to football, the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, is considering a petition to ban the name Redskins. And, you know, for us around here, this is old news. This is the whole fight and sue thing all over again. It's deja vu all over again. The head of the Federal Communications Commission says the agency will consider a petition to ban the Redskins nickname from the public airwaves. What? Chairman Tom Wheeler said Tuesday the commission will be dealing with that issue on the merits and will be responding accordingly. A law professor, well, of course, challenged the use of the name on broadcast television, saying it violates FCC rules against indecent content. And, of course, a lot of groups, most notably the Native American Indian groups, have demanded the name be changed, calling it a racial slur. Dan Snyder, the owner of the Redskins, just keeps stonewalling it. He has vowed never to change the name. By the way, did you see South Park last week? They did a whole thing about the Redskins thing. It was hilarious. Anyway, let me just say that as far as the FCC is concerned, no, keep the FCC out of this. Look, I think the Redskins name is offensive. I think it's inappropriate. I think it should be changed. It should have been changed a long time ago. Daniel Snyder is just being a disingenuous jerk about this whole thing. But having said that, I will also say this. Racist and offensive does not translate to obscene and or slanderous. And you're going to make me real nervous. If you start screwing around with free speech just to make a political point, well, you're missing the point, in my opinion. Okay? So, yeah, they should ban the Redskins, but don't send the government in after them. No, it's not it's free. It's speech. It's speech. It's freedom of speech here. You know, if you want to discourage them from doing it, best way is the old-fashioned way to vote with your dollar bills, which a lot of people are doing. And I think sooner or later, even a fellow like Mr. Snyder is going to have to listen. Now, my guess is that eventually he will change the name. He's just kind of holding out because it's good publicity. You know the old saying, any publicity is good publicity. And if I had to speculate, I would think, well, he's just kind of holding out because he knows he's getting a lot of press. As soon as it no longer serves its purpose anymore, then he will probably go, yeah, I know I'm cynical, but that seems to be how the world works in a lot of these cases. So hopefully they will change it soon, though, because I don't like it. I'm not an Indian, but I don't like the term. I do understand why people would think it's offensive. But no, you don't send the FCC in there to censor and tell people, radio and TV stations, that they can't use the term. That's not the way to do it. All right. Number here, 663-1270. Something else regarding Netflix. Now, you know, on all of my shows, I like to devote at least a portion of the show to talking a little bit about pop culture stuff, TV and movies, and we've got a controversy brewing regarding Netflix. You know, periodically what they do, they have a certain selection available in a given month. And every once in a while, they will phase out a few movies and phase a few movies in. So, you know, at any given time, you can't just watch anything you want. You've got to pick from this list they have, and they just keep modifying the list every few weeks or a few months or so. Well, They've taken a few things off the list and put a few things on with the new month. Today is October the 1st. They've taken a bunch of movies off, and I've got the list of the movies that they're taking off and the list of the movies they're putting on. And I got to tell you, the stuff they're taking off is a lot better in this case. Really. I'll get the specifics for you in just a couple of minutes here. And I would welcome your input as well at 663-1270. Jim Walsh on SuperTalk 1270 and SuperTalk1270.com with more conversation, more wheezing, and your calls coming up.